Good morning everyone, I'm Ms. Rose and welcome to Mathematics in a Modern World. Our topic for today is Commercial Mathematics. In Commercial Mathematics Lesson 2, Compound Interest, the main objectives are: first, define the key terms; second, calculate the annual values in compound interest problems, differentiate the simple interest from compound interest. So, in compound interest, it is the interest earned or previously earned interest added to the principal. So, for compound interest, present value will be used instead of principal. Unlike sa simple interest, the original value is used principal, and the compound interest that is present value. There are terms. First is the frequency of conversion. The variable niya is m. The number of times the interest will be added to present value. It may be annually, or effective 1, semi-annually or 2, quarterly or 4, bi-monthly or 6, or monthly 12. So, in nominal rate, that is J, annual interest rate. And simple interest, that is R. But in compound interest, that is G. Second is the periodic rate. So, that is I, the annual interest rate per frequency of conversion. Next is the number of conversion, that is N, product of frequency of conversions in time. So, the formula in compound interest equals to M equals to P, that is the present value, quantity 1 plus J over M. The J is the annual interest rate, M is the frequency of conversion, raised to MT. So, frequency conversion times the time. To make easier calculation, and that is J over M, that is I, and the N is MT, or the frequency of conversion times the time. For example, the first example, Anthony Villadon plans to invest 100,000 in a business venture. He is offered 6% compound semi-annually. How much will he receive at the end of the 3 years? So first, state the given. Then P equals to 100,000. T is the number of years, it is 3 years. M is the frequency, which is semi-annually, that is 2. And J is the rate, 6%, always convert to the decimal point, which is 0.06, and apply to it to the formula. And M equals to T, quantity 1 plus J over M, raised to MT, or M equals to P, quantity 1 plus 5, raised to N. So, since N equals to MT, ang semi-annually, that is 2, times the year equals to 6. Then, I equals to J over M, which is the J 0.6, divide the M, which is 2, equals to 0.3. Then, substitute on the formula, this formula. So, 100,000 times 1 plus 0.03 raised to 6. So, dapat may calculator. So, using scientific calculator, times 1 plus 0.03. Kailangan gumamit ng scientific calculator para sa raise to 6 equals 119,405.27, or convert mo siya nearest conversion na 119,405.22. Next example, what is the present value of 65,000 at 11% compound annually for 4 years. So, for always state the given. P, that is the present value, which is 65,000. J, that is the 11% or 0.11. And compound annually means 1. That is the M. And the time is 4 years. So, simply distribute to the formula. Pwede din ito. So, 65,000 times the quantity 1 plus 0.11 over 1, that is the year, raised to 1 times 4. So, i-calculate mo siya directly to the scientific calculator para mas easier way to calculate. 1.0.11 fraction over 1 raised to 1 times 4 equals to 28,674.57665, or convert to the nearest tens. Yung decimal point, pwede siya by 2 or pwede mo siya kapena. So that is the compound interest. Next is the stocks and bonds. So the main objectives is define the key terms, differentiate the stocks from the bonds, calculate prices of stocks and bonds. So in stocks and bonds, there are terms. Stocks is indicate the ownership, including claims of asset and earnings in the company or a corporation. So, and stock price is this the highest or the lowest amount sometimes is willing to pay for the stocks. And shares are the slightly different from the stocks. So, dividend is the monetary portion of the ownership of the company or corporation. And the board of directors, which is the group of individuals elected to present stockholders in meetings. Preferred stockholders have limited voting rights but receive priorities in claiming a fixed dividend, while the common stockholders are the real owners of the company. So this is the main terms in stock and bonds. Next is the dividend yield. So it is the stock's dividend as percentage of the stocks. The formula, dividend yield equals to annual dividend over current stock price, always multiplied to 100%. Same as the yearly dividend per share or over earning per share times 100%. For dividend payout ratio naman, measure the percentage of net income that is distributed to the shareholders in the form of dividend during the year. So, dividend pay ratio equals to total dividend over net income times 100. Example, 500 shares of ABC Incorporation are owned by Rainier. So, each share pay 50 pesos in annual dividend. If the current stock price is 550, what is the dividend pay? So, first, take the given. Annual dividend, that is 50 pesos. The current stock price, that is 550. Then substitute to dividend yield equals to annual dividend and current stock dividend times 100%. So, actually, 50, that is the annual dividend, divide to 550, that is the current stock price, times 100%. So, that is 9.09 or 9%. That is the dividend pay. Next is the dividend payout ratio. So, example, Tony's bed and breakfast has several shareholders. It is reflected in her net income statement that she has a net income of 10,000 and issued 3,000 dividend to her stockholders during the year. So, what is the percent of her net income is paid to her shareholders. So first, always take the given. The total dividend is 3,000. That is 3,000. Then the net income, which is 10,000. So formula is the dividend payout ratio equals to the total dividend over the net income times 100%. Calculate a total dividend is 3,000 over or divide to 10,000 times 100%. So that is 30%. Next is the Gordon growth model. So that is the other method. It is the model for determining the price of the stocks. Given this formula, the P is the stock price at time 0, DO is the current dividend, times the 1 plus G is the growth rate in dividends over the R, which is the required return on the stock, minus the growth rate in dividends. So always remember R is greater than G. In non-constant growth stock naman, assume that the growth is expected to change over time. So in this formula, the PO, which is the stock price at time 0, mag-start sa 0, equals the summation of T equals to 1 to T, dt over 1 plus R raised to T plus dt plus 1 equals to R minus dc, quantity 1 plus R raised to negative T. So dt is the expected dividend at the time T. T is the number of years of non-constant growth. GC is the long-term constant growth rate in dividends, and R is the required return on the stock. So GC is the long-term constant growth rate in dividends is less than R, or less than to the required return of the stocks. So in example, Gordon growth model, dividends on the stock today are 50 pesos per share, and dividends are projected to grow at 6% per year forever. Means for year forever, every year or what exact year? 6% lang siya. What is the value of the share of the stocks if the required rate of return is 8%? So DO, that is the current dividend, is 50 pesos. G is the 6%, the projected to grow at 6% per year, which is 0.06, and the rate of return, that is 8%, which is 0.0. Then, substitute to the formula, PO equals to DO, current dividend, quantity 1 plus G over R minus G. So, calculate by using calculator. So, 50 times the quantity 1 plus G, which is 0.06%, over the 0.606% minus the return of rate. Return of rate minus the G na 6%. So the answer is 2,650. That is the Gordon growth model. So next is the non-constant growth model. So kasi kanina, that assumed growth is expected to change over time. This is the formula. So example, dividend per share today costs 20 pesos. Investor expected that the economy's dividend to grow 10% for the next 3 years, and a constant rate of growth of 5% thereafter. So if the required return rate is 6%, what is the stock? So this is the formula of non-constant growth stock. PO equals to summation of t equals 1 to time dt over 1 plus r raised to t plus dt plus 1 over r minus dc plus 1 plus r plus t negative t. So, ang dt, that is the expected dividend at the time. Then, PO, that is the stock price at the time 0. Then, the R, that is the required return rate of the stock. Then, dt plus 1. So, that is the expected dividend at the time T plus 1 over the R na the required return rate of the stock minus the GC, which is the long-term constant growth rate in dividends. So, first is isolve muna ang current dividend in the 0 year. So, in dividend per share today is 20 pesos times 1 plus 0.10 na economy's dividend to grow at 10%. So, 20 times 1 plus 0.10 equals to 22 pesos. That is the current dividend in 0 at the time 0. Next is the current dividend at time 1 in 1 year. That is the DO, which is 22 times quantity 1 plus 0.10 times 1 plus 0.10. That is the 24.2. That is the first dividend in first year. Next is the dividend in 2 years. That is D1 times 1 plus 0.10 times 1 plus 0.10. So equals to 26.62. Next is the D3 or the current dividend in 3 years equals to D2 26.62 times 1 plus 0.10 times 1 plus 0.10. That is 29.282. So, na-run off ko siya. That is 29.28. Next is the D3 plus 1. Because, sa question, 3 years plus 1, that is the D4. So, the D3 na 29.28 times 1 plus 0.5. Why 0.5? Because in the next 3 years, ang constant rate daw niya, rate of growth is 5%. So, times mo lang sa 1 plus 0.5. That is 30.7461. Na-run off ko siya. 30.744. Or pwede din siya ilagay mo lang lahat. Next is, i-substitute mo lahat. Ito yung summation of T equals to 1. So, substitute mo lahat. D1 to D4. And also D4 na 30.744. So, calculate para ma-check. D1 is 24 point. Why hindi na dala si D0? Because the start ang year niya in 1 year. So, hindi dala ang at the time 0. D1 lang. Over 1 plus 0.6 na required return rate na 6% raised to 1 year. So, nag-start na siya in 1 year. That is 22.83. Na-run off ko lang para hindi masyadong mahaba. Next is 26.62 over 1 plus 0.6 at 2 years. Squared mo. 26.62 times 1 plus 0.06 squared in 2 years. Calculate siya, 23.69170523 or 23.69. So, na-run off ko na lang. Next, in 3 years. So, 29.28 over 1 plus 0.06 in 3 years. That is 24.58405261 or 24.58. Next, ito naman. Si dt plus 1, which is 30.744 over 0.06 minus 0.05 equals to 3,074.4. So, calculate ko lang. Next is this. In this formula. Now, quantity 1 plus 0.06 raised to negative na time, which is 3 years. So, that is 0.839612 plus 19283. I-run off mo siya, that is 0.84. Then, i-add mo lahat. So, pag na-add lahat, siya ang total. So, let's add para make sure. 22.83 plus 23.69 plus 24.58 plus 3,074.4 times 0.84. So that is 2,653.596 or 2,653.6 na run off. So that's the example of non-constant growth stock. Next is the bonds. So bonds are long-term debt, long-term na utang, instrument that promised a fixed income in the form of interest. There are two methods on bonds. That is the coupon method. The coupon method is the interest paid to the bondholder. So, the formula of coupon method is CP equals to face value times the coupon rate. Next is the bond price. It is calculated by obtaining the present value of the bond cash flow. So, BO, bond price, this is the formula, equals to the CP, which is the coupon payment, over 2 times the quantity 1 minus and times 1 plus R, which is the coupon rate, over 2 raised to 2 at a time over the R na coupon rate over 2 plus the face value over 1 plus R over 2 raised to 2. So that is the formula. Next, the example naman niya. So, a semi-annual coupon bond has face value of 25,000. So, that is 25,000. So, 25,000. It has a 8% coupon rate and 5 years remaining until its maturity. So, if the required rate of return is 5%, find first is the coupon payment, next is the bond price. So, the coupon payment given ng face value na 25,000 and the required coupon rate is 8%. Always convert to the decimal point, which is 0.08. Then, multiply lang. Na 25,000 times 0.08. So, the answer is 2,000. That is the coupon rate, coupon payment. Next is, how about the bond price? So, CP, the coupon payment is 2,000 and the time is coupon rate and 5 years remaining. So, 5 years. Substitute to the formula. That BO, the bond price equals to the CP, the coupon payment over 2 times quantity plus quantity 1 minus times 1 plus R over 2 times rate na 2T over R over 2 plus F over 1 plus R2 raised to 2T. So, substitute mo lang si Coupon payment of 2,000 over 2. Quantity 1 minus 1 plus 0.05 na rate of return over 2 raised to negative 2 times 5 years over 0.5 over 2 plus 2,000 over 1 plus 0.5 over 2 times the raised to 2 times 5. Okay. Direct to the calculator para mas easy. 2,000 over 2 times 1 minus 1 plus, dapat scientific calculator plus ang gamitin para mas madali. 0.5 over 2 then raised to negative 2 times 5 then 0.05 over 2 then plus 2,000 over 1 plus 0.5 over 2 raised to 2 times 5 equals to 10,314.4607 o na-run off ko siya 10,314.46. Dapat plus naka-scientific calculator pag naka-solve ng stock and bonds and compound interest. So, that's all. Thank you.